Oh my gosh, guys. Whoa. What? Where am I and where's my group? What in the world? How? Oh, okay. The Gallery of Failures. Oh, this way, okay. So, this one... So I tried queuing for this 2 different times. This particular wing. The first time, I waited almost an hour and a half. As a healer. I hope you understand what that means. So I took a break. I left the queue, I took a break, did something else. I tried this again. All of a sudden, just a couple minutes, boom, it's ready to go. The queue for this is so absurd. Okay, so apparently they just started the boss without me. Sure, whatever. Alright, obviously because I have to focus,
4,
I am
3,
going to
2, 1.
go over the
Regurgitation.
story and lore of these guys a little later. Oh boy. Although I did look at some of the tips about the gameplay for this boss here.
Target you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright. So we gotta be kind of
4,
careful here, but
3,
actually looks like we're doing pretty well.
1.
Breath incoming. Regurgitation.
So the first time that I queued for this, we couldn't get our 2 tanks. For the longest time, we had our DPS and full heals, but not enough tanks, just 2. Huh, I keep getting this rune. Okay. The experiments within Uldir conducted tests upon countless life forms, including several Loa who inhabited the forests around. Oh. That's right, I have to wait for see if there's any dialogue concerning Mother. Oh gosh. Yikes. Yep. Looks like some people are leaving. We keep getting re-queued for people to fill in the spots. Ow. Ow. I would hope the last wing is going to be a fast queue. Because if there's any bosses you're going to want to queue for, I would imagine it's going to be for Gahoon. Now, I wanted to do this wing especially because the last boss we're going to face in this particular wing is Zul. Yes, Zul. I'm hoping there's like a moment where it shows him getting brought back to explain how that works, but then again, it's not like being brought back from the dead is something that's unusual in this setting, right? It's not like we have never even heard of that before. Oh gosh. Gotta keep the tank healthy. Just kind of run through this. I just love that little wave of healing.
This laboratory contains thousands of the most dangerous viral strains in the known cosmos, alphabetically sorted with means of access. Alert. Viral containment breached. Contaminated specimen approaching. Risk of infection imminent.
Okay. As you can see, I'm experimenting with my healing interface. Someday I want to really sit down and learn how to do heal bot. The problem is that, especially when there's a brand new patch like this, you need to wait for the people who make the mods to update them. Otherwise, they're not going to work properly, and they're going to kind of glitch out when you use them. And especially with this patch, where things have just been buggy quite often. So I would be very hesitant to try and work on Healbot during this particular point in time, with 8.2 being so fresh. Even if the author has updated the mod. I wonder how different this is between normal difficulty and this difficulty.
3, 2, 1.
So this is Vectus.
Immunosuppression.
3, 2, 1.
Contagion.
I have no idea whether or not I should be bloodlusting this early. In fact, I think I saw when I was looking over his tooltips for how to play against him, that I think when he gets to 50% health,
2, 1.
he gets like some kind of frenzy.
3.
Immunosuppression.
Nope, I was wrong. That was a different boss I was looking at. Yikes.
Immunosuppression. Omega Vector.
3, 2, 1.
Target used.
Oh gosh, oh gosh.
1.
I'm stunned.
Immunosuppression.
That is a Plague Amalgam.
Immunosuppression. Omega Vector.
You know what's something that I do struggle with and try to learn is to keep an eye for,
3,
like,
2,
if my teammate gets a debuff that I need to remove it.
3, 2, 1.
Phase change.
And I think that is coming up in the Zool fight, based on what I read, because something will happen in that fight where someone will want to jump off the edge and die. And I have to dispel it, but I have to make sure... Oh, hold on. Someone has to stand in this, otherwise an amalgam will spawn. Like that right there. No one's certain it, so an amalgam spawns.
Immunosuppression. Immunosuppression.
Which, of course, a lot of those is a very bad thing.
Immunosuppression.
3, 2,
Immunosuppression.
1.
Immunosuppression.
3, 2, 1.
Immunosuppression. Contagion. Immunosuppression. Immunosuppression.
Man,
3,
my casts right now are getting
1.
pretty slow. Man, if you get a debuff that slows your cast, it's even worse for Resto Shaman.
Immunosuppression.
I want to keep my
3,
dime to have
2,
some damage just keep
1.
going to this guy. Ugh. Oh, never mind. They just released.
If that thing had made it
Huh.
past us, it would have
Oh.
infected all life on the surface.
Cutscene. Is this the revival of Zool?
Reorigination drive
Nope,
restored.
it's just the
Vault access
stairs.
granted.
Okay, so now we have access to the vault, which is now... So we've gotten through the not very important or well-known bosses. Now we have the last three. Now for this particular wing in this video, we're gonna end with Zool, and then the last wing that you can queue up for in Raid Finder is just Mithrax and Gahoon. So we're gonna go face Zool, which I guess is down here, and then you'll have to re-queue up. And I'm really hoping the queue for the next wing is not so long. Alright. Pants for the Raid Finder Uldir set. As if I care about that set. That's one of the most generic looking sets I've ever seen, and I'm just so disappointed that that's like a set you can actually go for. Because like, why would you even bother? I don't care about... I'm not necessarily talking about in terms of the gear stats. I'm talking about in terms of the appearance. Gosh, look at that cast. I hate that that took so long.
Watch your step.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta drop some of my cooldowns here. Because
Watch
that's
your
a
step.
lot of trash right there that we gotta deal with. Ooh boy. Gotta keep my tank, one of my tanks alive. It's a good thing my totems are able to provide some decent AoE healing. So far doing okay on my mana. I like the heal over time that Riptide does, where it heals for an additional 18 seconds. It's very minor healing, but at least it's healing over time. It's a type of healing I enjoy from playing as a druid.
Watch your step.
Ah! Oh my gosh. Nope. Reincarnation.
Watch your step.
Don't you just love when a knockback like that happens and you had no idea it was really coming? You get so used to looking over here, you're not paying attention to if something is on the ground that perhaps knocked you away. I'm guessing we have to clear all this trash and then Zool's gonna pop out of there. And I'm guessing after the scenario that we did in Zuldazar, where Rastakhan basically did a "This is Sparta" thing to Zool, that the Blood
Watch your
Trolls
step.
probably collected Zool and was like, we have to gather his body and revive him to keep him alive, or to bring him back, rather. Why did they just pop Temporal Dis...
Watch your step.
Why did our mage just pop Time Warp?
Watch your step.
Why did you pop Time Warp? We're not even at the boss fight yet. We're clearing trash and you pop Time Warp. I mean, this is not even trash that would, like, make you go, oh my goodness. That was such a waste. now we can't pop one of those for the boss. I mean, I'll be the first to admit there was a long period of time where I wouldn't have known or understand that stuff. But I've now been playing at this game long enough and messing with the different roles and different characters at the point where I understand that that's not necessarily something we do unless the trash is absolutely overwhelming, which at no point, I think, did any of us ever feel it was overwhelming. And plus, this is Raid Finder trash. This is not Mythic trash.
Watch your
If
step.
we were doing this on Mythic, I can understand the desperation of that, especially if the trash is, if we pulled everything on this platform and it's like, oh my gosh, they're overwhelming, and then you pop it, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that made sense. But I'm sorry, but I just think that was a waste of a time warp or a bloodlust. And
Watch your
if
step.
it was my case as a shaman. Trying to avoid all that stuff on the ground.
How is he alive?
Great.
I saw him die by my father's hand.
Analysis indicates high levels
Oh.
of corruption. Hypothesis. Gahoon reanimated
He
the
despawned.
specimen and enhanced it. Further testing required.
It does not matter how he returned. My knife will send him back to the abyss.
I have many, many wares. Many farewells.
Actually, I'll just go ahead and...
Everything is
Oh.
as I have foreseen.
Oh. Wow. So he just immediately despawns if we don't tag him? That seems interesting. I guess we're supposed to just immediately get to him and tag him, otherwise he despawns. That's so weird.
Come, fools! I've already seen your end.
Alright, I tagged him. Let's go! Now, I have no idea whether or not this is the type of fight that you can burst him down with Bloodlust, but may as well try, right?
4, 3,
Especially if
2,
you've never done this before, why would you not want to? Now, what I have to pay attention to, because I saw this in the guide,
Croc spawning soon.
will be your doom.
40% health.
Dispel.
Actually, no, I had to dispel Death Wish. Dispel
Blood
who?
hexer
Who?
spawning soon.
Blood, we shall conquer.
I hope my
Pressure
other healer,
spawning soon.
fellow healers are paying attention to that, because I'm not really seeing the part where
Blood
it's
shard.
like... Alright, so he's about to get a big buff here. Yeah.
Flows through
Those two.
tremble.
This is something that happens when he reaches 40% health.
Congealed blood.
And he gets empowered with the Blood of Gahoon. So at this... And he's gonna stay like this throughout the rest of the fight.
4, 3, 2.
So we definitely have to,
Run away.
try to take him down probably as quickly as we
Running
can, so that we don't have to deal with this buffed up version of him as fast as we can.
Dispel.
Four, 3, 2, 1. And despair.
Oh gosh, oh gosh. Ooh, there we go. Woo. Okay, so that's what you have to look out for, the little skull on top of their head, because that's what indicates Death Wish. Oh gosh.
This was not the future I was.
I'm guessing when those minions hit you, that's what causes it to happen. So.
Warning. Significant threat of contamination beyond this point. Quarantine protocols prevent me from proceeding.
The rest is up to us. We will put an end to Gahun's disease.
Alright. Now it's time to go ahead and read the stuff about these bosses. First one we faced was the Fetid Devourer. Let me go ahead and start over. The experiments within Uldir conducted tests upon countless life forms, including several Loa who inhabited the forests around Zandalar. After the experiments proved lethal, the Loa's remains were disposed of improperly, much to the delight of the dark consciousness imprisoned within Uldir. Next we faced Vectis. And this was the stuff I was referring to. I was looking over these as I was waiting in the queue. The plague of corrupted blood killed countless trolls and began one of the most terrifying periods in Zandalar's history. The constructs within Uldir studied the disease in search of a cure, but found that only isolation and experimentation was effective. Unfortunately, as the facility's safeguards cracked apart, the plague was accidentally combined with a sample of Gahun's blood, creating a new entity that hungered for fresh victims. So I would have to do heavy healing for some of these. So this was the kind of stuff I was looking up on. And this is what I noticed here about these couple things. That, I'll read this about Zul first. Once the proud leader of the Zanchuli Council, highest advisors to the kings of Zandalar, Zul was praised as the greatest of prophets. Now the Dark Prophet has turned on King Rastakhan and would see a true troll empire rule the world once again, even if it means submitting to the blood god Gahun. At 40% health, Zul no longer summons the forces of blood and becomes fully empowered with the blood of Gahun, unleashing Locus of Corruption, which is he consumes all of his energy, applying 1 stack of corrupted blood to all players per 5 energy that was consumed. Spending his Elder Blood to afflict the raid with Corrupted Blood, which inflicts shadow damage every 2 seconds. The effect stacks, and it lasts until the end of the encounter. So from that point on through the rest of the encounter, we are all taking damage every 2 seconds. So that's why when you get to that point, you have to try and get him dead as soon as possible. Otherwise, everyone's just eventually going to die unless the healers just are, like myself, are just trying to keep everyone as healthy as we can. Players must defeat him before the damage from Corrupted Blood overwhelms them. Yeah. So this is what caught my attention when I was in the queue here. Dark Revelation. After 10 seconds, dealing damage to all players. Decreased with distance affected. And Death Wish, which deals high group damage. And this is what I noticed. Dispel Death Wish before players leap to their deaths. And I was like, what? What is this? What's Death Wish? It fills the player with Death Wish, causing them to walk towards the edge of the arena, over here. This is kind of similar to what it was like in Icecrown Citadel, where the Lich King would call the Valkyr, and the Valkyr would come in and grab you, and fly you over the edge, and drop you to your death. So it's kind of similar in that regard, where you're being forced in your mind to walk over the edge and kill yourself, unless a healer, like myself, hits the D-spell, which for a shaman is Purify Spirit, to remove the effect, so that way I save them from killing themselves. It's a good thing I noticed that that's what was going on, so when I read that, I was like, okay, so I have to make sure that during this fight, if that happens, I have to look for my teammates to make sure they don't kill themselves. So this was something else I noticed. Platform, when the player jumps or when Death Wish is dispelled, Death Wish inflicts shadow damage to all players. This damage is reduced by range. In addition, several minions of Zul are created. On Raid Fighter difficulty, Death Wish does not cause damage when it's removed or when the player jumps. So obviously we have the very easy version of that, where if once I dispel it, nothing else really happens. Now let me see what happens if this is on Mythic. This is a heroic pool of darkness. This is heroic difficulty. Creates a pool of darkness at a location for 20 seconds. Periodically, the pool of darkness will explode in erupting darkness unless a player is standing inside of it. Players standing in a pool of darkness are afflicted with absorbed in darkness. Standing within inflicts a lot of shadow damage every 2 seconds. On Mythic, each time a player takes damage from this, they also receive a stack of corrupted blood. Wow. So, once we get to stage 2, what's this like on harder difficulties? Tank alert. Magic effect. There's Death Wish. Minions of Zul fixate on players and cannot be tanked. Increased damage done. Curse effect. When a minion of Zul reaches its target, it causes a wave of terror, making the players within 5 yards run in fear for 12 seconds. Oh my god, a 12-second fear. That is insane. I mean, at that point, if you're running towards the edge, you can't be able to stop that. Unless that's what happened, is that it actually causes the Death Wish, and that's what I could dispel. But if it's just a regular fear, usually those can't be dispelled. Especially if that hit me, then I would have pretty much probably run off on my own. Man. I wonder what this is going to be like. Like, maybe in the next expansion where we're all coming back to these raids and trying them out on Mythic. What that's going to be like. I wouldn't necessarily want to try this as a healer, I'll tell you that. And I gotta be honest, I'm not exactly looking forward to the next two. Mithrax and Gahoon. When we come back, I'll be trying to get into the last swing of Uldir to take on Mithrax and Gahoon. Stay tuned.